Hey, good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. It is still cold here in Virginia, but I know it will heat up soon. And happy Martin Luther King Day. My daughter is off school again for the 25th day of the year, but I obviously know it's a great reason due to the holiday today. So I wanted to just thank everybody that is joining me today. Like I always say, Mindset Monday is really about you guys and me having a conversation on really what affects our mindset, because we know if we kind of dive into the mindset, we know we can accomplish anything because it's 90% mindset, 10% skill. I also want to go over that. Everybody, just so you know, I'm not in no way a psychologist. This is just speaking from my brain into your Facebook feed. So I want you to know that there's multiple opinions. There's all different ideas. And so this is just one take on it. Doesn't mean it's the only take on mindset. But I want you to just kind of dive in and have a conversation with me. Put things on. Good morning, Chuck. Put things on there and comment below so you can kind of keep the conversation flowing. Today we're talking about an interesting topic. I don't know that I've ever thought I would ever talk about this, because today we're going to talk about the vehicles and the mindset around the vehicles that we drive. And when I say vehicles, I'm originally from the Midwest. In the Midwest, we call all vehicles, our SUVs or cars. We call them cars. So I actually noticed that I interchange the word vehicles with cars a lot. Because I've basically lived half my life in the Midwest in Indiana and half my life in Virginia. So if I flip back and forth, that's because you can't get rid of those habits. Just like I now try intentionally to say soda, but pop is the word that we use in the Midwest. So I apologize in advance if I flip back and forth, but hopefully you guys know vehicles is any reference to whatever you drive. So let's get started. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is I wanted to basically disclose to you that I really don't know anything about cars. So I am definitely not a car expert. I always joke the way I basically change a flat tire is called AAA. So it's not something that I know a lot about cars. In fact, it's funny, my wife and I were driving back from our trip from Indiana, and it was snowing, and we needed washer fluid. And so we stopped at the gas station to get washer fluid, and we both had to Google and watch a YouTube video on how to pop our hood, because we didn't even know how to do that. So by no means am I a car expert. The second thing is I've realized pretty quickly that vehicles and the brands are kind of like the other three things you're not supposed to talk about, which I didn't know. You're not supposed to talk about, obviously, sex, religion, and politics. But man, if you talk about someone's car as far as the brand name, it's a total different conversation. Some people are Ford people. Some people are Chevy people. It's crazy. It's like a whole different world. So again, I'm not talking bad or good about a particular brand. I'm just telling you the mindset around this. So don't blow up my feed if you feel like I'm attacking your vehicle, because again, I don't really know enough about cars to know one is good versus one is bad. So one of the cool things is I kind of did a little research on the color of your car. So the cool thing is that I did this, we saw this study, and I thought it was just kind of fun to tell you guys about. The color of your car says a lot about you. So it's almost like I was thinking like kind of like a mood ring, right? So black is an aggressive personality or a rebel. Silver is cool and calm. Green is reactive. Yellow is idealistic. Blue is introspective or reflective or cautious. Red is someone who is full of energy and has a lot of pizzazz. And white is a status seeker. Ooh, sounds good. Cream is contained and controlled. So I don't know what color car you have. You guys can comment below. But evidently the color of the car you choose depicts on the personality, the personification that you're trying to perceive to the world. I don't know if you can guess what color my car would be, but basically it's black. I guess I'm aggressive personality and I'm a rebel. So there you go. So whether you choose cars because of the perception of how people think of you, or maybe it's just a simple concern of pricing and functionality, we can all relate to really there is a mindset or a thought around what people drive and why they drive it. I'll just tell you a quick story about myself. I can remember the first car that I had. My dad bought it for me on my 16th birthday, and I thought it was the best thing ever. It was bright red. It had cloth seats. It was a Geo Metro. Geo Metro was my first car. I thought I was in heaven, right? So over the years, I've kind of moved on from the Geo Metro. Unfortunately, the Geo Metro passed away. He didn't quite make it all the way through the last 20 years of my life. So I've had older cars. I've had with high miles. I've had newer cars. I've even had brand new cars. But about a year ago, I had a conversation with my wife about, hey, I think I need a new car. And it stemmed from actually a conversation that I had with one of my vendors, and I'm not going to share who the vendor is, but it was an interesting conversation. So I think I had a Nissan at the time. I don't even know what car it was. A Nissan. It was brand new. It had maybe 15,000 miles on it, so it wasn't an old car. And the gentleman, one of my vendors, he said, Drew, you're really successful. You're doing really well for yourself. Why don't you have a nicer car? And I was like, what do you mean? I have a nice car. It's got like 15,000 miles on it. And he really took me through his mindset, that he felt like there is a status car, if you drive a certain brand of car, that you would show a level of success versus other. And I don't know that I agreed or disagreed, but I thought it created an interesting thought or a mindset around what we think those luxury vehicles do or say about the person driving them. So it actually kind of stirred in me, and the funny thing is that it kind of resonated with me. And I told my wife about 6 months after that conversation, I said, I think I'm going to buy a new car. And she said, okay, well, what type of car are you going to buy? And I said, I think I'm going to buy a Mercedes. And right out of her mouth, without saying and skipping a beat, she said, you can't buy that car. You're going to be judged. People are going to think you make way too much money. That's not a good choice. I thought that was interesting, and now, of course, as we go through these conversations and kind of reflect, my wife and I talk about that. She's like, that was just a mindset that I had, that a certain person's driving a certain type of car, there is a perception of their wealth. And I bought the car. I mean, I just did because I felt like that's what I wanted, and, I'm a rebel because it's black, so I'm obviously going to do what I want anyway. So I bought the car, but the interesting thing is that I had never been exposed to that mindset before. I honestly, maybe I'm naive to it, or maybe I just wasn't honest with myself. I never really thought about a car as a perceived mindset of success or not success. I just thought, wow, that's a pretty car. Oh yeah, that's a really nice car. I like the look of the car. I never really connected the two together. And then I started to realize that other people around me had similar mindset. And that was an interesting thing to look at. It was just interesting. So as I got this vehicle and I brought it to work, and I was, obviously drove it around everywhere, and it's the only car I have, my circle of people had two different opinions on it. One was like, wow, that's a beautiful car. I'm so excited your business is growing. I'm so excited for your success. Congratulations. It's really a beautiful car. I'm like, okay, thanks. Obviously, blah, blah, blah. Then there's the second perception, which I thought was interesting, that it says, wow, Drew, your car is really nice. You must be doing very well. Are you going to start charging more for your services? Wow, I hope you can be able to, maintain the payments on that car. And that one to me was like, wow. But again, there is no judgment on either one of these mindsets. I just want to have this conversation with you guys about there is definitely a mindset on what type of car you drive and the perception of success or not. And I guess my question to you guys is, because I don't have it figured out, is why is there a mindset on a vehicle? Why is one particular vehicle, and believe me, it's not about a Mercedes. It could be about a Ford versus a Chevy. It could be a Mercedes versus a BMW. There is a perception on certain brands and certain really circles of vehicles. Like I said, I really think it's almost like politics. Like, if you like this type of vehicle and you obviously oppose the opposite vehicle. I don't know where that mindset comes from. I'm curious. Maybe that's just because of the branding of the vehicle. Maybe it's from obviously the consumer side, the commercials that we watch, the luxury side of it. I definitely know that when I watch videos, let's just say the Cadillac commercial, you just feel luxury when they're driving those, right? So I don't know what it is. I do think, though, that our society creates labels on people. I'm guilty of it. I'm sure maybe you are as well. But I think maybe that driving a certain vehicle creates a status symbol or really some level of success that we're portraying out to the consumer or to our peers or to our public. And I think that's just an interesting thought and a mindset around that is, what does that trigger? And maybe you're not a car person. So let's just kind of go in general terms. Maybe it's not about the car. Maybe it's about the particular brand of clothing that you wear or something else. Maybe it's that you really are going to take your success and you're going to buy a beach house, or maybe you're going to pay off your credit card debt, or maybe you're going to set up a fund so you can send your children off to college. Everybody uses the word success and actually uses that money that's going to fund that success in a different way. And I think cars or vehicles are just a way that we show that in the personification of our world. So I don't know, it's just an interesting thing. One thing I'm saying is definitely not saying is you don't have to buy a luxury car to be successful. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to kind of focus on and really focus my attention on what the mindset is obviously there's a motivation for that. And there's something that I've been taught. Logic makes you think, and emotion makes you act. Logic makes you think, and emotion makes you act. There is an emotional reason why I chose this vehicle. There's an emotional reason why you dress a certain way. I probably give you another example. When you're going on a job interview, do you buy a brand new outfit, maybe a new suit or a new dress? You feel really good going into that interview with that new outfit. There's a perception, there's an emotional attachment to feeling like you're successful. And if a vehicle, in my opinion, if a vehicle gives you that feel or emotion of success, then go for it. Go buy the vehicle that makes you feel like success. Because there's really going to be two mindsets around success anyway, right? We've talked about this on Mindset Monday. There's the scarcity versus the abundance. And the scarcity mindset is, I can't afford to buy this. I can't afford to buy the new clothes. Ugh, right? Or there's the abundance mindset that says, I am doing great things. I'm coming from contribution to other people. So there's going to be that abundance. So I can afford the vehicle. I deserve the vehicle. I should be proud to drive that vehicle. So there's definitely something that we think about or that we see all the time that I think is interesting about the mindset around the vehicle that we drive. And I think it's attached to our emotions. I really do. And logic makes you think and emotion makes you act. That's a bold law that here at Keller Williams, that it's a great course that we offer. And it's so relevant because I see so many times that if we don't have the emotion in what we're doing, we don't act. We don't do anything because there's nothing attached to it. It's just the task. It's robotic, right? So I think there's something to be said with the emotion attached to the type of vehicle that you have, that you drive, or that you desire, or if it's maybe some other materialistic thing, but it is something that you need to be conscious of. So for me, it comes from, I think, when I go back, it's like, yes, my first vehicle was the Geo Metro Red. I love that thing. Actually, I painted it black, which is ironic because I obviously lean towards black vehicles because I'm a rebel, according to what they say. But I think what it is that when I get in my car, and again, I'm not a car person, I like the feel of it. I like the way it drives. I like the way it makes me feel, maybe emotionally, right? And I never thought about it because I'm not really, again, a car person, but there's an attachment to that. For me, I'm like, wow, I'm successful. And what that does is that drives me to wake up every day, that drives me to help people, and that drives me to be successful, and that drives me to have fulfillment in my life. And if a vehicle can do that for you, then heck with that. That's awesome. I want you to think about that. What are the things that trigger your emotions that create success of a success mindset? Because if you don't have something that helps you kind of get up in the morning, we talked about the big why, we have to have that emotional connection. The last thing that I want to talk about is I think we kind of can come into the fear of coming into success. So I always talk about it when I coach with my clients that sometimes we have the fear of the activities, right? So we don't maybe want to do A, B, and C to become successful because it's scary. It's something it's outside our comfort zone. It's something we've never done before. It just is something that is just something we might have to learn a skill or a task, right? But I think there's something on the other side of success. I think there's fear from success, if that makes sense. I think there's something in our mindset that there's a fear that comes from being successful because on the other side of success, there's an expectation from your parents, your family, the consumers, your friends. Because I've been through, and I swear there's times in my life where, I've had great success, then I've obviously failed forward, and then I had to rebuild. And every time I get to this kind of level of success that I'm like, wow, okay, this is going great, there is this fear that I have in myself that says, what are people thinking of me? What are people thinking about me? Do the people think that I'm maybe too good for them, or I'm not humble enough? And I think a vehicle might create the mindset that we're fearful from success. If I drive this, let's just say my car, my vehicle, if I drive this Mercedes, are they going to think I'm too successful? Are they going to think that I'm too, outgrown them? And that's not the case at all. But there's definitely a mindset around that, and I fight that mindset a lot. So that's the reason why I brought this into this conversation today, because it's an interesting thing as I now drive my vehicle. It's got 4 tires and a steering wheel. It gets me to where I need to go. But there's definitely a concept or a viewpoint from the other side that says, well, I don't know, Drew's driving this or somebody's doing that. And I think that's something that we need to be aware of and think about that, because it can be polarizing. It can be something that could definitely affect our continued success or the things that we need to continue to be on track to become successful. So if you obviously desire a luxury car, yes, buy a car. If you want to buy a nice home, but don't come from the scarcity mindset, right? Don't let it hold you back. Make sure you create abundance for yourself, and you create the mindset that creates success and abundance for you. Do the things that matter to you. And so I guess the end of the story is you have a choice, right? You have a choice of abundance or scarcity, and a vehicle is attached to that. You have to obviously have a vehicle to drive. Well, some of you don't. I know that, like my sister, she has a vehicle, but I don't think she ever drives it because she's in the city and gets around. So gets around like Uber drivers, or she's got like these blue cars, electric cars. So it's kind of a cool thing there. But I think most of us have a vehicle, and I think you just think through, what does that say about us? What is the mindset around that? Because I think it comes from a scarcity or abundance. I really think that that's the thing that triggers it. So I'm just curious about, why do you have the vehicle you have? Why do you think it's important? Do you not think it's important? What is your mindset around the vehicle you have? And have you ever had someone say a positive or negative thing about the vehicle that you drive? And how did that affect you? So I'm curious about the comments that you have below, and the things that you can kind of really learn from that. So we always end with the mindset quote, and there is a great one that Aristotle said, which I think really talks about more criticism. So I'm not saying that, I just want you to listen to this quote and we'll kind of take it from there. There is only one way to avoid criticism. It's do nothing, say nothing, and then be nothing. So let me say it one more time. There is only one way to avoid criticism. You're going to do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. So if you don't want to have someone judge you or have a mindset around the vehicle that you drive, then you don't have to do anything, right? But if you want abundance and success, and you want great things for your family, you want to give to your church or charity, or buy that beach house with your family so you can create memories, it's about doing great things and having success. And don't be afraid of that. Don't be scared of it. And definitely don't have a mindset around the vehicle that you drive. Drive it with pride, drive it with care, and drive it because you know that you've been successful, and that you're coming from contribution and really giving to others, and that's the reward and benefit of that. All right? Well, thanks for joining me on Mindset Monday. We have them every Monday at 8 a.m. We're going to talk about all kinds of different topics as we go into the new year. I really appreciate you guys hopping in, asking questions, commenting, because again, the original root of the reason why we did Mindset Mondays is really selfishly for myself. Really, some of the things that I talk about are my mindsets and how I'm shifting them and changing them and adapting them and grow. And 2018 is the year of growth. So together, I think with this Mindset Monday, we're going to have a lot of things that we can talk about. And I expect that you're going to have a great day. And I hope that you got something out of this. And I'll talk to you next Monday. Have a great one, guys. See ya.